In the last video, we discussed what sub-initiatives are, and now we want to discuss a little bit about where do sub-initiatives come from. So keep in mind, sub-initiatives are pieces of an initiative, and a sub-initiative is a value container, and it's quarterly based. Where do they come from? You really want to have the chief product owners, sometimes called engagement partners, sometimes called relationship managers or product managers. But you really want to have the chief product officers, the chief product owners, to create the sub initiatives. And they should create the sub initiative from the sub initiative goal outcome. Now, remember, the sub initiative goal outcome should be what is the piece of the outcome we expect from an initiative that we can try to track within a quarter. And the reason that we want to focus on the sub initiative goal outcome is because you have an approach that you've created for your initiative for this year, right? It's some value I want to reach my vision. And I create an approach of how I'm going to build something this year to produce the outcome that's desired. And what we want to do is we want to verify or confirm that the approach that we are going to use will actually produce the outcome, right? So we form a kind of a hypothesis test that says, if, given that these things are true, if I take these actions and do things this way, I'll produce these outcomes. And because this is all about the outcomes and you're testing out your approach, that needs to be the focus. And so I'll take the hypothesis and I'm going to create the pieces that I'm going to use in order to test out or prove my hypothesis within a quarter. And that's what goes inside of a sub initiative. Now, typically, this is a sort of a paradigm shift because most people who actually create these sub initiatives, they think in terms of how do I optimize building whatever it is I'm supposed to build? And they take that building exercise as a separate item that's divorced from the outcomes that we're supposed to produce. And that's wrong because you don't want to maximize the output. What you care about is the outcome that the output will actually produce. And so you always want to have this outcome in mind. And again, we thought about some approach to actually producing the outcome. We need to test out that approach. Often we don't know that building a certain feature, that creating a certain application or system will actually help the company to produce the outcome that's desired from the business side. So we want to partner with our business and actually say, what is the outcome that's desired? Let's guess about how we're going to use things. And perhaps we build a piece of it in a quarter. And then we test out to see, all right, can you actually utilize this piece to actually build the business value, the outcome that you desired? And we should actually talk about it and test it out. And if it's actually working, and we can forecast out and say, if we build this part, we'll actually be able to obtain this bigger business outcome for the whole year, then it's working, we keep going. But if not, we want to actually shift gears a little bit, right? Maybe we build a different feature or go on a different track for the sub initiatives for the other quarters. So again, we're going to keep the context in mind. It's about the outcomes, and we should use it to test out whether or not our approach is actually working. Once you actually do this, you want to make sure that you've identified everything that's necessary to build whatever you're building. So my first step, again, I've had this initiative outcome that I wanted for the whole year. When I break that down, I'm saying, hey, for this quarter, I want to produce a sub initiative outcome. right? I'm going to use this approach for it. And then based upon the outcome that I want for that quarter, well, here's what I need to build or produce as far as a sub initiative in order to create that. And I write that down to my sub initiative. The What I want to make sure of, I'm going to do a check because the sub initiative outcomes, once I accumulate each one for each quarter, it should equal out to be 100% of the initiative outcome. And most often, unless I change directions, I change my approach. Initially, the sub initiatives, if I combine um, the sub initiatives from all 4 quarters, it should probably equal out to be whatever the output, what the initiative was. And so I'm going to do those checks just to make sure that things are kind of in line. These are sanity checks to make sure I'm building the right thing. Now, keep in mind though, although most times I keep my sub initiative outcomes the same unless I change my approach. Often I may actually change what my initiative may be. Now, I may have planned out that my initiative is X for this quarter, Y for this quarter, Z for this quarter. But sometimes if I find out that I'm not producing the outcomes I desire, then I may change the outputs, which is the sub initiative itself, in future quarters because I'm taking a different approach. So you just want to keep that in mind. All right, so we've discussed where our sub initiatives come from. In our next video, we'll get a little bit more in depth in how to create the sub initiatives themselves. Until then, I'll sign off for now and we'll talk more and have more videos later.